Okay, we are on page Reish Tetzvov. We yesterday finished talking about the sirchus. What sirchus means that sircha is like a blemish in the lung, which doesn't allow the ear to the oxygen to reach the heart and give it life. And that's Bagashmis. So Baruchnis, so Sircha means that the Nefesh Bamis is connected to the Nefesh Elikis. I'm stopping it. The Nefesh Elikis connects, and it is drawn by the Nefesh Bamis. Really doesn't allow Avavir. In the Makam Acham Avur, the Shor Matzchelas Malkon in page Reish Tesov. In the Makam Acham Avur, in the Sirchas and Nefesh Ein Shakim with the Shamat Shemchnes HaKevayim. In another place, Chassidus explains that Sircha and Nefesh is only Shayach in the low Neshamas. Shemchnes HaKevayim. She'im Chnes Gasas Saruach. They have a certain level of Gasas Saruach, which Gasas Saruach means they're not as refined. Mele, second. Shamas Agvoyes, higher level of Neshamas are not shaykh to this concept of Sichas HaNefesh. But the Shamas Sheba Mitzrayim, or the Shamas Gvoyes. The Neshamas in Mitzrayim from a higher level, higher Madrega, but Mele cannot say that they have this Sichas. No, was a symbol of that. We call them Shtab Neshibet Kosha V'Chema B'Lveini. Why were they affected? Again, obviously, Chema B'Lveini in this case doesn't mean just physical labor. It's a meramis to allude to a level of Yerida, of being affected by Mitzrayim. So that's the Taveda Kosher. That means that they're restricted. So how did it happen to them? They're the Shabbos Gvoyes. Fish and Shammos, Mitzrayim and Shammos Shadei Aflog. So it brings in an interesting point here, but it's really take just a step back. In the top of the page, it says, "B'Mitzrayim lo yishachem ala asman." In the Shamas Mitzrayim, it says that today should be a shach of Mamala. You know, say we need ala asman, you need avodah. Ala asman is the avodah sabiruim, Abba ve'ira. The Shamas Mitzrayim are not shach ala asman. That's what he started saying. But he said in our experience, in our world, the concept of not shacht al asman is a result of the averes, of avonis, kosher b'veinikeichi, sirchas. In the Shamas of Mitzrayim, he cannot say, but the Shamas of Mitzrayim, he cannot say that because they were the Shamas Gvoyes. They came from a much higher level, so they didn't, by nature, they did not have that blemish of Sirch. No, was so why they're not shy at Allah Asman? It's a different reason. It's more historical, so to speak. But see, because the Shamas of Mitzrayim, if we go to Mitzrayim, it says in Kabbalah, they're Gilgul of the Shamas of their Afloga. So their Afloga had their own. We can explain it in a few ways. Maybe it's like a punishment. See how it explains it in the original. I'm looking up the Sorry, I'm looking the way they explained it. Be reading now Hanoch. I'm looking at the way he explained it in the way the Rebbe Shabbat it. Just says "Va'asibulazim the shayin sham is der aflog." It's not a result. I don't know. We can learn it a few ways. Because if it's neshamas gvoyes, we can say that neshamas maybe that's pshat. That their own nature, they were at a much higher level people. The male mitzad atzmom, they didn't have that blemish of sirchas. Now what? Because the neshama deraf logo, so it's a punishment. Yeah, I think that's what it says in Kabbalah. That according to Kabbalah, maybe even the Medrash, the neshamas of Mitzrayim, it was sort of a punishment for the sin of deraf logo. Nasal Shem, that they wanted to rebel against the Eibishter. So because of that, as a punishment for that, they had this problem. They couldn't. They're lacking the ability to Allah Asman. That's what he says. No matter how we, in other words, no matter how we're going to explain what the cause is, whether the cause is because they were low level neshamas, or we're going to say that the reason is because they are flogged. Actually, the bottom line is, so the bottom line is that the shamas of Mitzias Mitzrayim, the shamas in Mitzrayim, were in a low spiritual state, either a result of their own low level or as a result of punishment of their flogged. לכן, כדי שתהיה, שהיא מבחינת עלייה במציאת מצרים, צריך להיות דווקא מבחינת גילה מלמעלה, בזמנים וסבצת צריך לסוף. So he finished what he said, if you remember in page Yeshid Dalet, 3 lines from the bottom, it says, והנה עוד יש טעם, עוד טעם יש. So basically that's the second reason. So we have 2 reasons why there needed to be the Gilui Atzmos itself in Mitzrayim. Number 1 was that we said till then, because Mala have a limit, can only reach within Kedusha. In Mitzrayim, the neshamas fell so low they were within the walls of Klippa. So in order to reach there and to break the Klippa, we need the Gilui Atzmos. That was Tam Aleph. But the second time is that in order to be mamshich, we need avodah sodom, we need Allah Atzman. And the neshamas in Mitzrayim fell so low they couldn't do it. They couldn't reach Allah Atzman. Koshel b'avoini keichi. The state of the spiritual state was so low that they couldn't reach so low. We made it. The only way it can be taken out of Mitzrayim is aniv lo yachal, the Gilui Pnimis V'Atzmos. So this entire drama, the way we described in the way it is historically, they explain what happened then in Mitzrayim. So that happens in a smaller scale in every individual state of Avodas Hashem. What's that pshat? The beginning, just like in Mitzrayim, Mitzrayim was the beginning of everything. The birth of Am Yisrael. So the beginning of the birth of Am Yisrael, how did it happen? How did the beginning start? When there was Am Shav Pnimis V'Atzmos. So he says similar things happens in our Avodah in general. You can say it every day, but he said more maybe in the development of every person in his lifetime. We can also say it in a smaller scale, even every day. But I think the way he talks about it now is the development of every person during his lifetime. First, a person, a Yid, gets an inspiration from above his capacity, which is similar to the concept of Gilui Pnimis V'Atzmos in Yetzias Mitzrayim. Then later he himself gets involved in Avodas Hashem, or the Hamshach Lefi Erech Ha'lo. Then the Hamshach, the Gila Kuz that he receives, is based and is Lefi Erech, commensurate with. It depends, and it's the same state, in the same level as his own avodah. So that Sinai brings in an interesting point. This is that the Rebbe actually brings it in a few places. This mime. She says, when a person, again, he's going to talk about Zivuk Rishon, Zivuk Sheni, which I think I mentioned in the mime originally. Doesn't necessarily mean chas v'shalom that the person loses the first zivuk. It means that the second stage in zivuk. So what's pshat zaktor? The isa b'gemara, the famous gemara seita, boy im keidem tziras avlad, shaloi neder rishon schusay. Im keidem tziras avlad. That's the time before his rishon schusay. Before we know yet what type of person is going to be, whether it's going to be a evil person or it's going to be a tzaddik. We don't know it because it says tzaddik v'rasha lo yikama. That I mean, everybody has bechira. So before Yitziras Havlad, that's at that stage we don't know yet what it's going to be. And even then, machrizim bas ploni. Then not based on myself, based on who he is. Bas ploni. Machrizim what is shidduch. Mashenken zivuk shein, it says the Gemara of Yemais. What's the pshat in Avodas Hashem? Again, so what do we see? That there's a difference between Zivuk Rishon and Zivuk Shein. Zivuk Shein of Yemais. Zivuk Rishon, Bas Ploni is not of Yemais. What's the difference? It says, what does it mean Avodas Hashem? Again, B'Hashefa Meis Hashem on the Shammos Shein as Zivuk Shefa Nishpat. So the concept of the Eibeshtus, the early key, the Keichel key, the Eibeshtus flow of inspiration that reaches every person can be considered, is compared to a zivug. Showing a zivug, that's the zivug. Shefa nish beis Hashem tchilas aved kavan shom stal kus p'nesiv and the ma'ida shaloi lefi hakos agosh kivu v'zeh. The first flow of inspiration comes from above. To bring the neshamas closer to the Eibush, something from above, independent of the person's own state of mind. Again, that's something with another place in Chassidus. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it talks about it's a daily occurrence, or we can look at it as a more general occurrence during the lifetime. We see שבתחילת העבודה מסתר בחפץ של דרך הליכוס, ככה מזכר. Then he cools off. העין שבתחילת העבודה זה המשך מלמעלה, הוא חלק מהסתקף. One second, what is that? Here? Not sure, 1 second. It said here no. Second. I'm not sure what those statements means here. Anybody has a guess? Anyway, Ryan should be stressed. I've made those. I'm sure I'm a mile up. I'm a mistake. Okay. אבל später, אבל רק מה רק מה I mean, there's a kind of acher ba'acher, but it doesn't belong here.
Could it be achar kach? It's like a mistake, or that's not chef?
Possible. It's possible.
Okay, whatever.
Check. Yeah, that's what I thought. Achar kach doesn't make sense when it says it here. Let's see. Okay, mark it. Check it out. אחר כך, אוקיי, meantime, this אחר כך, מה שנעשה, זה לילה. שזה עניין זיו בגרישם וזיו בקשייני, so these two states of mind, in Aveda, that's the עניין זיו בגרישם וזיו בקשייני. תתחיל את העבודה זיו בגרישם, שמשפני זה לילה, אחר כך שנעשה בעבודה, עניין זיו בקשייני, שהעבודה מלמטה. So I mean, according to what it says here, Zivug Shein is a more Zivug Rishon is a higher madrega and gilui, but because it's milmailo, it's from above, so it doesn't penetrate him, and so you can you can lose it fast. Saying something calls milmato comes from within himself. That's not lost. That always stays with him.
So it's like Shana Rishayna. It's like Shana Rishayna honeymooners.
Okay. So that it brings in another point that we say there's the Eitzer. שבתחיל סעבד שמספר בסתם זה שמצד הגיעו ממעלה, עצר הזה ששתדל עוז בהסאמצס דויל והרבה נפגעי אחד, זה יועלה של העסקה והליך ומדרגוס. See, if you remember, this point is making here, and that's one of the first Mamorim that we learn as children of Chassidus, in Mamorim Lekotim Lekot Torah, the Maimon Adam Ki Yaakov. The Maimon Adam Ki Yaakov, over there he talks about this concept, that Adam Kiakim Mikam Korban Lashem, that it's possible that over there I think it shot that Adam means that Milamayla, like we learned in the Mayim before, Adam alien. That when the Eibishter is the one Kiakim Korban Lashem, that can be something that comes from above, that can be not easily, but the nature dissipates. But when you do your own arbet milamato, then it stays with you. So that's a lot of places in Chassidus talks about this concept. He brings it in here also.
What is Parashat Vayikra? What Parashat is it?
Yeah, of course, Vayikra. So the beginning, the first Maimon of Vayikra, Adam Ki Yaakov.
But you're saying that's a basic Maimon?
I don't know. When we learned, I don't know, maybe today the yeshivas are different. When we learned Chassidus in Yeshiva, the first Maimon when we got to Torah, we learned was this Maimon, if I remember. Because there's a kuntas called Maimon Melokotim when we got to Torah that we used to learn in Yeshiva before all the Maimon. So one of the basic Maimon was Adam Ki Yaakov, because that over there brings out the point. This point that when something so le'ela milamaylo, without a person's preparations, after a while. Goes away. In order for us to make sure that it stays with us, we have to invest our own takrivas korbanchim. So this concept is saying is repeating it like Yodua. See, it says Shalchin Yodua Eitzal. That's I think that's why I use the word Yodua, because that's like an important message, I would call it, or element that the teaching of Chassidus, the Chassidus teaches us that if you're inspired from the outside, if the inspiration is so that can go away easily. or the famous mashal that the example is that says that Matan Torah was what's the difference in Matan Torah, I think, between Har Sinai and Har Bayis? Why is Har Sinai not holy and Har Bayis is holy? Because Har Sinai, it was all milmayla lamat. It's a bimshech hayevel ema yalabo. The Eibishter came down into the mountain and gave us the Aseres Hadivos. It's the most important event in human history, right? How come the Har Sinai is not a holy place? The minute the Matan Torah is over, it's a regular mountain like any other mountain. Why? So I think that's another mashal. But Mashenk and Har Bayis, the kedushas of Har Bayis ain't a p'tela lo'ila. What's the difference? Because in Har Bayis, that vayakar sitzrak b'no, it started with avodah milmata l'mayla. When something comes from the bottom up, so it becomes part of the nature of the place. The place is a place which is holy because the milmata l'mayla, the voim, the voim mitzad atzmam, they are the ones who initiated the process, so to speak. So it stays with them. It's part of them. In Har Sinai, it's kof alem hakagigis. It's imposed from above. Kof alem hakagigis is only one example. That's the most radical example. Kof alem hakagigis, it was something forced. And even the Rebbe says the Rebbe shot kof alem hakagigis, the aval yeina. He forced love on them. Even then, it's still milmayla. Something that comes in milmayla without your own. If you don't capture it right, so it can go away. So first of all, Mshachayim is able about the gedusha of Har Sinai doesn't have any gedusha. Number two, 40 days later, there's already an eagle. Again, everything is relative. I'm just giving a general brushes. This concept that that's what he says. Yadua she'etz ha'yitzal she'b'schus havesh b'spar b'spar t'eslav z'gdoyim she'mitzad ha'gil l'maylo ha'etzo, he repeats the word etzo, she'ishtadl b'is'am t'zdoylo b'aved b'koyach atzma zeir l'shlo yistal b'mavigos. That the important thing is that the person has to bring it from below. He shouldn't rely on inspiration from above. He should digest it and come. He should come to the maskana b'koyach atzmei. Sometimes it says again, everything is general. Obviously, you can't take everything theoretical. Sometimes it says this is also one of the chidushim of Chassidus Chabad of non-Chabad Chassidus. Non-Chabad Chassidus, the idea is to be inspired by the tzaddik. You come to the tzaddik around a holy person, so it inspires you, which is a great thing, obviously. But it's not from the bottom. The concept Chabad means that, I'm talking in very general brushes. The concept of Chassidus Chabad is that a person has to learn himself. He should come himself to the conclusion. So when he comes within himself, what?
I'm saying for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like from Melamara Lamato, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu definitely has the Kedusha, but when a person tries himself, he might not reach 20 Madrega, might reach maybe 20 later.
100%, you're right, 100%. That's it's always a combination. That's why he doesn't say, he says, look what he says. After you get the inspiration from above, you shouldn't just be comfortable with the fact, oh, I'm so inspired, it's fine. I can just sit as an outsider, as an observer, and be inspired. And you're right, if you don't have the Koyach L'mayla, that's also, you're not going to get anywhere. So you do need the Koyach L'mayla. But the way to deal with it is, that's the Eitzah, she started with Amtzes Yisrael, but so this is the general view, this is the general way our Avodas Hashem operates. I remember learning that from maybe some that it says, every morning he gets inspiration from above that pushes them to be in the proper state, and that's why he's inspired and davening. But then later it goes away if he doesn't follow the Eitzah. It's not so simple. not. It requires effort and gear. But the message here is that there is a serious mile, like you're right, 100%. But you're saying that on your own you can get too much if you start from the bottom on your own. But if it's there is a Amshach mile, but you use it, you follow the eights. Is start bis amtes itself, aber der hat mir sehr if you digest, if the person takes this inspiration and doesn't just let it just write on it without getting involved himself, then it's going to go away. So to summarize, no was בחסד השם עלינו שלא יצא שיגיע לקוץ משום זה נים שיגיע לנו מעלה בדרכם בשמש. So the point what he's saying is that in our avodah we get this inspiration from above because the chesed it's kindness. It's not something we deserve on our own. But then after that we have to do our own work. Jumping back to the historical Yetzias Mitzrayim, he said a few words about how it is in our personal life, and then he goes back to Yetzias Mitzrayim. But he didn't finish this. Again, you have to keep in mind the two parts here. So let me just finish this here. I'm sorry. Okay. So he goes back to the general. Okay, he just said because he used the mush of Zivug Rishon Zivug Sheni. There's a Chas Nakalas. He says this concept Zivug Rishon Zivug Sheni can only apply. We can also apply it to the historical situation of Yetzias Mitzrayim, Matan Torah, etc. Should be Yetzias Mitzrayim, Ayam Shacham El Ma'ila should learn of him. I say. That basically is taking us back to what started on the top of the page. In this concept, that Shalel of him are saying that Allah man is really moments in the Medrash. What does the Medrash say? A person bedalag alahoi says in Pasuk Shirim, Kol Leidin is a bar medalag alahoi mekapetz alagvois. And the Medrash says that this applies to Yetzias Mitzrayim. Says the Medrash was medalag alahoi. If I would pay attention to their behavior, to their action, they would never be married to Geula. That's the whole. So that's the same passage we learned, we read in Chumash Dvarim. The reason the Rebbe took the Inat of Mitzrayim is that it's obvious. So that's a deal. He says similar to the way we just described it, not the Torah is also similar. So there was an overwhelming expression, Gilui, revelation of godliness, Gilui Atzmus. So that is the Zivug Rishon. Hakach nishtaba luchos. That is a second stage. Just like he said in Avodah, there's the Zivug Rishon, Zivug Sheni. He says in this context it's similar. That the Zivug Sheni, that is the Luchas Shnias. What's the mile of Luchas Shnias? Luchas Sheni. Luchas Sheni is Gilim El Mile Shalei Fiach Avodah. It was a Gilim. So there's a few ways to. He's going to talk about it a little more. that the Luchas Shnius is the result of the tshuva that the Eden did on Chet Ego. The Rebbe forgave them. So the tshuva, that's already Allah Mulmatel. They first of all, Moshe Rabbeinu davened to the Rebbe. All this is Allah. It's in other words, they reached their own spiritual state. They want the Torah. They want to receive the Torah. There's a rem is the fact in that Luchas Achanis are given Yom Kippur, but Moshe Rabbeinu took the Luchas Achanis down to the Bnei Yisrael on Yom Kippur. Shazel that tshuva Yom Kippur, which means it's connected to Yom Kippur as a day. It's a day of tshuva, which is avodah l'matal man. Kamoi kein agilin, because in the Shama is so now is jumping to. The Haggah says that the in of tshuva Yom Kippur that's something that applies. Not only what happened then, but Luchas Achanis were given. It's something that applies to Yom Kippur, to our Yom Kippur every year. What happens in Yom Kippur? See, if it's a pasuk in Tehillim, Tigva Chayeshev, Gazab Chagenu, Kechaykli Soil Mishpat Yaakov. Says Chassidus Pshat. What does Mishpat Yaakov mean? She's Dinu Mishpat ala Gila Likus Adim Sham Sham Soil. Quickly, Soilu Mishpat Alekei Yaakov. There's a Mishpat and the Lekus. That's a Pshat of Chassidus. Pshat. The Mishpat Amach Lekus will be Nimshach Yaakov. Sham Shachal Fe'achallah. So the Hamshacha Amach Lekus is Nimshach Fe'achallah. It's based on the Aveda. Shazeo Kiwa Tevin Shloshana Kademis. So it depends on the avodah of the prior year. Also, if it's not tshuva, the Rosh Hashanah Kippur, make the tshuva Rosh Hashanah Kippur. Period here is like makes no sense. The period should be after Yom Kippur. Okay. So basically, it's based on two things: and the Kiyum mitzvahs and tshuva for Rosh Hashanah Kippur. So that's almost like a parenthesis. The Haggah we were in that what happens in Kippur. But you go back to our own discussion. So similar. In Luchos is similar, the same thing. The Luchos that were given in Kippur is already tshuva. It depends on the avodah. Now he says, he brings in another point. It says there's a mile in Luchas Shnius. Luchas Shnius have a mile in Luchas Shnius. K'mayim Razal HaPasuk. V'yagel HaTalum es Chachma K'playim L'Tashiyah. There's a famous Chazal that Ilam Molel and Yishtabar HaLuchas. If the first Luchas were not broken, so the only Torah we would have gotten was Chamisha Torah and Sefer Yeshua, nothing else. That's it. Obviously, in addition to the simple meaning, it also means there's a certain level of Gilu that we have got. What says double, it means the second Luchas, but the Medrash says, I think it's a Medrash. So what he's saying here is that after the Luchas Shnius, we got much more. We got the rest of Tanakh, but more importantly, Torah Sheba'al Peh, Medrash, Halachas, V'Agodas. So from this, it seems like Luchas Shnius are higher. So why are we saying that the Luchas Rishayna is that with Amshachah Melamayla, and Luchas Shnius is only Amshachah L'Ferach HaGilui, L'Ferach HaVeidim L'Mata. We see in this Medrash, in this the Maimar Chazal, that Luchas Shnius have a mile over Luchas Rishayna. So he explains. Zeo mitzad HaGilui, Zeo mitzad Etzem HaTagosh, but Pnimis Etzem HaTagosh, we're going by mile. He says when you look what the definition of their state of being, of their what's a better word for it? Their madrega, their yeah, okay, I'll stick to that. Their madrega שבפניס ועצם של גוסם, פניס ועצם של גוסם, הם גבוהים במיילה. They have an לוחס אחרינס, have an advantage over לוחס ראשונס. אבל מצד הגילויים, הלוחס הראשונס הם גבוהים במיילה מעל השניס. Now he talks a little bit about, he compares the two luchas, which also the two dibos, we just read in Veschan and the dibos achrein, according to some meforshim, the luchas shniyas, luchas rishonos, is this difference that says that dibos in Israel and Veschan. Tam derech hagav. B'chol ofen, so he's discussing that each one has an advantage. Tzad hagilui, what was expressed, the experience that the Eden had when the Elohos Rishonos came, which means the Aseres HaDibros, was a much higher, the Gilui, the revelation, is much stronger. The Elohos HaChoines, it says the Gemara says, Nitnu B'chshai. There was no drama, there was no Kolos Ubokim, they didn't experience revelation, so the Gilui was lower. There was no Gilui. Mashenken Elohos HaChoines, that's Elohos HaChoines. Okay, Mashenken mitzad teichen, it says mitzad etzem ma'alosam, which lochas expressed a deeper madrega, that's like a lochas shniyas. When you get to us, now he's talking about mitzad the giluyim, Hashem g'level ma'alach, shazeh mashkotza b'lochas, b'lochas rishonos, choros al lochas. So we remember the mission in Pirkei Avos. Al tikka choros el cheros, that it says luchas ma'aseh lekim eim. The Eibishter gave Moshe the first luchas, luchas ma'aseh lekim eim. V'amichtav lekim hu, and the writing is a writing of godly. It's the Eibishter. Choros al luchas. It was what's the word? It was engraved on the luchas. So the word choros says, say Chazal in Pirkei Avos, al tikka choros el cheros. So luchas rishonos express the concept of cheros, which is total freedom. The Meili says, cheros v'nashib, but we call it elo inyon. That the luchas rishonos, the way luchas rishonos came about, was through in a way of very high level of gilui, which is cheros mikol inyon. They attack have this mila that they bought with them medrash halachos v'agodas, but the gilui was a low level of gilui. But now he's already, so in a way, the luchos achronos, the state of luchos achronos represents everything in history from that Yom Kippur, that Moshe Rabbeinu gave luchos achronos till Mashiach comes. It's all the state of luchos achronos. So that's why he says right away, Aval b'zman hagolus. So luchas rishonos cheros nashiva. There was no, it was independent of any shibud means subjugation to the world. Aber zman hagolus in our personal experience. I feel it's my vayisrish. I'm sure of everything Allah. Cheinu kol ha'avoda achshav was adi meisa Mashiach. Akel ba'avoda milamata v'amshach of everything Allah. Zeh kol ika gilu l'osi do yedei avoda l'gom. So it jumps to a way more general understanding of the whole thing. That the luchas rishonos, again, the luchas rishonos was the first birth of it's just in time and matnter and luchas rishonos and Aseres HaDibros rishonos. All this was the expression of the gilui atzmi milamaylo. But right after that, after Chet HaEgel, the avodah started milamata l'maylo. Our entire avodah. In history, from the time of luchas achronos until Mashiach comes, the only madriga we get, Gilui Likus, is only totally by social stat. Sorry, said something? Yeah.
So what is like the first sefer on the somebody that people that they don't have any exposure to Hasidus, is preferably with nekudos, that they came up with the nekudos. Anyone you can recommend? That is basic Hasidus, explaining.
But in Hebrew?
Yeah, Hebrew is fine. Yeah.
I can't think of it. I'll think about it today. So okay, I'll think about it. Okay.
But you have some printed Maimorim, no, in the Nekudos, one from Rabbi Shah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Maimorim printed in Nekudos, but okay.
The little booklets.
Yeah, I have to think about it. I'll let you know. Okay.
I
Sorry.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's important if you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Thanks. I remind you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Shukran.